Today is March 8th, 2022. This is International Women's Day, and it's like that's the day of women, and I hope that every woman in this room is happy. This is your day, and I want to thank every man also for making the women happy. It's 7:02. The meeting is called to order. Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Estimate Irvin,
Present.
Councilwoman Timothy, Councilman Galvin, Mayor Bieneme,
Here.
Vice Mayor Desilme. Mayor, you do not at present have a quorum.
Thank you very much. In the meantime, we're gonna please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation with Pastor Cheryl Sejour from Gateway Family Foursquare Church. And the Pledge of Allegiance will be done by Crystal Thompson from the North Miami Police Department.
Please place your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, city staff, police staff. Let us bow our heads. Oh, gracious Heavenly Father, oh, how you love this city. Oh, Lord, we just ask that your presence would fill this council chamber today. Lord, whenever anyone is honored, as the women are going to be honored, Lord God, your presence dwells where there is honor. And so we first and foremost want to honor you and your presence. And we invoke your blessing upon every decision, everything that is done in this council chamber, Lord. And we just thank you that you are Emmanuel, God with us, the Prince of Peace, the wonderful Counselor, the everlasting Father. And we just thank you for your blessing upon each and every heart in this room tonight. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Commander Crystal Thompson from the North Miami Police Department. Thank you, Pastor Cheryl Sejour from Gateway Family Foursquare Church. And now it's 7:05. Madam Clerk, can you verify the quorum, please?
Yes, Mayor. As of 7:03, Councilwoman Timothy is present. You now have a quorum to proceed.
Thank you very much, Madam City Manager. Is there any addition, deletions, amendment, or deferral to the agenda?
Yes, there is. We will be deleting.
I can't hear you. Can you use the mic?
Yes, there is. We are asking to remove tab F from the agenda.
You're removing tab F from the agenda.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Madam Deputy City,
Mayor, the agenda is now set. You may proceed.
thank you very much. Like we said before, it's International Women's Day, and we have several presentations. Proclamation in recognition of Women's History Month and International Women's Day, presented to Yves Carr Montpeou, CEO and founder of Creole Essence, by Councilwoman Marie-Estime Irvin. Proclamation in recognition of Women's History Month and International Women's Day, presented to Dr. Marie Etienne, founder of Global Innovative Consulting Network, Councilwoman Marie-Estime Irvin. Proclamation in recognition of Women's History Month and International Women's Day, presented by Councilwoman Cassandra Timothée, MPA, District 2, to
I have 5.
Emmanuel Fleurymont. You have how many?
5.
You have 5 presentations, and let's go downstairs for that.
Mayor, as of 7:06, Councilman Galvin is present.
Thank you very much.
Sorry I'm late.
Alrighty, good evening, everyone. My name is Councilwoman Cassandra Timothy, and it is an honor to be here on International Day of Women, and of course, it is Women's History Month. Today, I'll be presenting 5 proclamation to North Miami business owners, North Miami community leaders that I have had the privilege and honor of working alongside, of course, in our North Miami community. So the first one is Norisa Glickman. She is the president of the Notary Club of North Dade, which is comprised of business professional women and men representing many vocations and walks of life, and a commitment to service above self. Nori has been a consistent supporter of our back-to-school events and community initiative. She is a woman who inspires, and it is my honor to celebrate you during Women's History Month and International Women's Day. Next up, we have Karen Tavia. She is the managing partner of Alaska Coffee Roasting Incorporated. Yes. Woohoo! This is a family-owned company in the heart of North Miami. I know she's not District 2, but hey, go ahead, District 2. She has opened up the location since September 2011, and the original location in Alaska. You'll find Karen at Alaska Coffee 7 days a week, roasting coffee and making delicious food in-house. She is also an avid supporter of our our Getting Gear bike ride, and of course, anytime we need her, she's here. She is a woman who inspires, and it is my honor to celebrate you during Women's History Month and International Women's Day.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, thanks. Hey, I'm Alaska. Come on down. And anytime anyone needs anything, let us know. We're always there for you. And thank you for this honor. It's a pleasure to work with the city of North Miami. They've always stood by us, and we're always there for them. So anytime we can help or support, we're there too. And they've been wonderful to us. So thank you. And the pancakes are the bomb. We don't use a mix. We make them from scratch. Thank you. Thank you so much.
My favorite is the hash browns. But next up, we have MJD Wellness and Community Center President and Founder, Emmanuel Fleurymont. Emanuela has had a passion for her community and wellness. She opened up MJD in 2015 in an effort to further advocate and educate individuals in her community on health and wellness. She also has a food pantry in North Miami's District 2. She is a woman who inspires, and it is my honor to celebrate you during Women's History Month and International Women's Day.
To say that I would like to thank every single person from the city of North Miami. They build me. They make me the person that I am today, starting from Katia Filippo to the mayor, to the Alex. Thank you so much. And I want to promise every single one of you, the police department that work with me, that make MJD where it is right now, that God gave me strength, wisdom to continue doing his work, because it's not easy. But without them, I will never be able to do it. Thank you so much.
Next up, we have, representing for Miss Gypsy Metellus, we have Jania Williams with Sunlock Community Center. Sunlaw was founded on December 6, 2000. The center's primary focus is to bring awareness to the Haitian community on available resources. Gypsy Metellus is the co-founder of Sunlaw and has held the title of executive director since 2000. Ms. Metellus could not be here tonight, but she has Ms. William who will accept this award on her behalf. Ms. Metellus is a woman who inspire, and it is my honor to celebrate her during Women's History Month and International Women's Day, and I was an honor to serve as her fellows during the Sunlaw Fellows Program. Last and definitely not least, we have Miss Connie Gooding. Archie Awards first opened up in North Miami 38 years ago. Connie Gooding started working there since she was 19 years old. After Archie's passing, she continued to make her award for the city and has no plan to quit anytime. Connie, anytime we call you, you're there. Anytime we ask for something, you are there night or day. And I can't thank you enough. Not only is she a North Miami District 2 business owner, but she's also a North Miami District 2 resident. And it is my honor to serve as your councilwoman. Connie is a woman who inspires, and it is my absolute honor to celebrate you during Women's History Month and International Women's Day.
You got my cell number if you need something?
Don't encourage them.
Thank you, everyone. That's it for me.
Good afternoon or good evening, everyone. I'm Councilwoman Mary Estime Irvin, and I'd also like to wish all of you women a happy Women International Day. So I'm not going to keep it long, but all of you are special. All the women, all of you listening, watching are very special. But there are some people that impact our lives and that impact our community lives. And today, I would like to go ahead and present a proclamation to Dr. Marie Etienne. So we're not going to read all of this, but Dr. Etienne, we just really thank you for your contribution. Thank you for your contribution to this community. Thank you for uplifting women. Thank you for your global initiatives, especially highlighting human trafficking, domestic violence. Thank you for all that you do for us.
Council. Are they all here? Yeah, everyone could take a group picture, please. All the honorees.
Come right here. Right there with my pancake. No, you're too best customer.
Let's get your proclamation.
Oh, that was me. Bad girl. Wait, should have put my thing.
No.
We all good now? Smile. See you at the next bike ride. I'm ready whenever you are.
She's not here.
Hey, I'm leaving. Oh, so we're not doing the one for Floodplain City?
Oh, yeah, this is a flood.
Can I call the city manager for? Go ahead. I don't know. Oh. And not only today, it's International Women's Day, it's also Flood Awareness Week. And I have a proclamation from the city of North Miami to the city manager, Teresa Terrilis.
Thank you.
Thank you. You want to say something?
So we're going to do a very short presentation on our flood awareness, but I wanted to recognize 4 individuals from the city that worked really hard. If you are not aware, we have a CRS rating system, which allows us to keep our discount for the residents for their flood insurance. This year, it was a tough feat to keep our 6, but we have kept our rate of 6, which means that all homeowners get a 20% discount from their flood insurance, and we've worked really hard. So I wanted to recognize Mark Haggerty, who worked with us, one of our consultants who worked with us. He's here today. Gary Beswick, who is our flood management manager. Anisha Daniel, our assistant city manager. And Mark Jean, our building director.
Mark, where's which one? Where's Mark? Mark, that's you. Where's Anisha? You? Who? Oh. Yes.
Nice to see all the ladies down here.
Mayor Bienemé, as of 7:08 p.m., Vice Mayor Desilmé is present.
Is it 7:40?
Oh. 7:08.
Thank you very much, and now let's move with the agenda. COVID-19 updates with Commander Benson. Mark, yes, go ahead.
Yes, I have
about
good evening.
Oh, okay, I didn't
Yes,
know. Sorry.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, members of council. Good evening, Madam Manager, and also thank you for the recognition, Madam Manager. Good evening.
Use the mic. Talk in the
good
mic.
evening, Assistant Madam Manager, Assistant City Attorney, and Madam Clerk. Just going to take this time to present a quick presentation on Flood Awareness Week, which began yesterday and runs through March 13th. The Florida Floodplain Management Association, FFMA, declares this week as Flood Awareness Week to promote awareness and increase knowledge of flood risk, the availability of flood insurance, flood protection methods, and how to prepare for emergencies. The City of North Miami is a voluntary participant in a National Flood Insurance Program, NFIP, Community Rating System, CRS, which provides residents flood insurance at a reduced premium to reduce risk and potential damage to property. I'm going to present 6 tips, just in the spirit of Flood Awareness Week. Know your hazard. Each resident should know what flood zone they reside in. Insurance. Did you know that homeowners insurance does not cover flood damage? Don't wait to purchase flood insurance. In most cases, there's a 30-day waiting period for new policies. And tip number 3, protection for flood. Turn around, don't drown. Don't drive or walk through large puddle or moving flood waters. Tip number 4, protect your property. Place sandbags between the flood waters and structure. Tip number 5, build responsibly. Permits are required for all construction. Also, tip number 6, the last tip, protect the natural floodplain function. Keep storm drains free of landscaping and other debris. National Flood Insurance Program. Properties located in a special flood hazard area and have a federally backed mortgage are required to have flood insurance. North Miami participates in the community rating system, which is a voluntary incentive program that provides discount for on flood insurance rates. And last, North Miami currently has a CRS rating of 6, which translates to 20% savings on flood insurance for properties in a special flood hazard area and a 10% savings for properties outside that area. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to present flood awareness. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Do we have any question for Mark Jean? No. Thank you very much.
Thank
you,
Mark.
sir.
Thank you.
And now, Commander Benson, any updates on COVID-19?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Commander Angelo Brinson, Emergency Manager. After the outstanding presentation we had honoring our wonderful women of North Miami, I am super glad that I have good news concerning the pandemic. The 7-day average positivity rate for COVID-19 in Miami-Dade County has dropped all the way down to 3%. Just a month ago, we was up at around 25–30%, so that's great news. The COVID-19 related death rate across Miami-Dade County for the last 7 days has dropped to less than 1. Total cases of COVID-19 cases in Miami-Dade County last week was 1,715. This is down from the previous week of 2,600. These are the lowest numbers we've seen since the pandemic started. So we are well on our way to coming out of this 2-year process that we've all had to deal with. The City of North Miami continues to offer COVID-19 testing in partnership with NOMI Health. COVID-19 testing is available at the Gwen Margolis Center, located at 1590 Northeast 123rd Street. Testing at Gwen Margolis is available Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And as a reminder, masks are still required at all North Miami facilities. Even though things are looking great, we're still trying to get out of the pandemic, so masks are still required. That's my report. I'll take any questions.
Thank you very much, sir. Do we have any questions for Commander Benson? I see none. Thank you.
Thank you.
See the announcement.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, North Miami neighbors, and guests. My name is Kata Filippo on behalf of the City of North Miami, and it is my pleasure to share some of our city's upcoming events with you. Also, happy International Women's Day. Join Vice Mayor Alex Desume as he hosts an informative meeting on developments in D4 tomorrow, March 9th at 6 p.m. at the Joe Celestin Community Center. The meeting will also take place live via Facebook at Al Desume, and on YouTube at North Miami FL. If you're unable to attend, please submit your questions or concerns via email to Rosa Henriquez at the Mayor and Council's office at rhenriquez@northmiamifl.gov by 12 noon tomorrow. For more information, please also contact the Office of the Mayor and Council at 305-895-9815. Join the monthly Get In Gear community bike ride on Saturday, March 12th, and experience a scenic ride through our beautiful city of North Miami. This month, we ride in commemoration of Women's History Month. Registration begins at 8 a.m. at the Mocha Plaza, located at 770 Northeast 125th Street, where the ride will promptly start at 8:30 a.m. and end 90 minutes later. Please bring your own bicycle. Helmets are also required for participants ages 16 and under and encouraged for all participants. Are you or your child ready for the SAT or ACT test in Miami-Dade County? And are you looking to ease your students' test anxiety and strengthen their test-taking skills? The North Miami Public Library, along with Jumpstart Tutoring, will be offering SAT/ACT prep tutoring starting March 12th through April 30th, every Saturday from 2 to 4 p.m. There will be tutoring sessions to prepare for the test date taking place on May 7, 2022. To register, please contact the library at 305-891-5535 or email library@northmiamifl.gov. Please do not wait until it's too late. The North Miami Public Library and the Florida Licensing on Wheels will offer DMV services by appointment only on Tuesday, March 15, 2022 from 9:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. You may also call the library at 305-891-5535 to schedule your appointment. Great news. The City of North Miami's Leaders in Training program deadline has been extended on Friday, March 18th. The program is designed to develop our city's next generation of public servants through higher education preparation, career readiness, and enhanced understanding of local civic processes. If you're a NOMI High School student 16 or older who is interested in a career and leadership development, we encourage you to apply to this 12-week program. For more information, please contact NOMI Housing and Social Services Department at 305-893-6511, extension 20000, or email socialservices@northmiamifl.gov. With something for everyone, join the North Miami Redevelopment Agency, the CRA, as they host their monthly art walk along NOMI's downtown area. On Saturday, March 19, visit local galleries, antique stores, and restaurants. Then make your way to Mocha Plaza, where the children can enjoy an interactive art zone. An array of artisans, creators, art lovers, and enthusiasts will be sharing their talents. Registration is also open for the 2022 NOMI Spring Camp from March 21st to March 25th. Spring break campers ages 6 to 14 will enjoy various indoor and outdoor activities, field trips, and more. Registration fees for residents is $100 and $120 for non-residents. Fees include activities, daily snacks, and related transportation. Face masks will be worn while indoors, and space is limited, so please contact the Parks and Recreation Department at 305-895-9840. Join Councilwoman Mary Estime Irvin for a special Women's Empowerment Luncheon on Thursday, March 24th, 2022 at the FIU Covens Conference Center. Networking hour begins at 11 a.m. and the luncheon will take place between 12 noon and 2 p.m. The luncheon will focus on breaking the bias, how equity and inclusivity help move you to the next level. This will also include guest speakers such as Congresswoman Sheila Sherfilis McCormick, Yolanda Cash Jackson, Esquire, Monica Richardson, Eve Carr Montperouse, and Maria Hunt. And also today we announced the keynote speaker is Commissioner Nikki Freed. To RSVP, please, the RSVP is required, and to attend, you must register at women'sempowermentluncheon.eventbrite. For more information, you may contact the Office of the Mayor and Council at 786-385-2576. And online applications are now available for scholarship program from the North Miami Educational Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization established in 2012 exclusively for North Miami residents to support high school graduates in their pursuit of post-secondary education. For more information and to complete the applications, visit northmiamifl.gov/student or contact the Office of the City Manager at 895-9888. Note that the application deadline is by 5 p.m. Friday, April 15, 2022. To stay up to date with NOMI news and events, log on to our website at northmiamifl.gov and click Connect with NOMI on the homepage to sign up for our newsletters. You may also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at NOMI News. That's all for tonight, and have a wonderful week.
Thank you very much, Katia Filippo. Next appointment for North Miami Commission for Women.
A resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of North Miami, Florida, appointing Magda Demerit to the North Miami Commission for Women in accordance with Chapter 2, Article 3, Division 13, Section 2-269 of the City of North Miami Code of Ordinances, providing for an effective date and all other purposes.
Which appointment is this?
Magda Demerit, Commission for Women.
Yeah, but do it who on the dais? Okay.
Let me see.
You?
No, I don't. If it is, I'm sorry, I don't recall.
Which applicant?
So I have it as, yes, Councilman Scott Galvin.
Okay.
Okay.
And I only say that because I was told there were several openings and several applications were given to me at the same time, so I forgot that was the person who I nominated. But she's gonna do a great job.
Thank you very much.
Move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion made by Councilwoman Estimate Irvin to approve the appointment of Magda Demerit to the North Miami Commission for Women. The motion was seconded by Councilman Galvin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote. Oh, 4-0, excuse me.
Thank
Yes.
5-0 vote.
Thank you. That's the only appointment you have, Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Let's move to the consent agenda.
Unless a member of the City Council wishes to remove a specific item from this portion of the agenda, tabs A through D constitute the consent agenda. These resolutions and items are self-explanatory and are not expected to require additional review or discussion. These items will be recorded as individually numbered resolutions adopted unanimously by the following motion: that the consent agenda comprised of tabs A through D be adopted.
Thank you very much. Can I have a motion on the consent if there is no questions?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve the consent agenda. The motion was seconded by Councilwoman Estimate Irvin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Tab E.
Tab E, a proposed resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of North Miami, Florida, approving amendments to the city's civil service rules in the form attached as Exhibit A, providing for an effective date and all other purposes. Tab E.
Yes, go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. In 2021, the City Attorney's Office worked with the Personnel Department to perform an extensive review of the city's civil service rules. And what we found was that it had not been reviewed in quite some time, and there were several inconsistencies and errors throughout the document. Mainly what we found were outdated charter references, references to legal codes and code citations that were erroneous or had been outdated. Also administrative regulations that had either been replaced or modified and renumbered. However, in the civil service rules, they were still referred to under the old regulations. And then most concerning, what we found were provisions that were contrary to Florida state law. And we also performed some amendments to make the application of the rules to be easier. For example, our performance evaluation process has changed, and so a lot of the calculation scores and things referenced in the civil service rules weren't really easy for the personnel department to apply. So we performed, we went ahead and did a rewrite, included all of our amendments. Included in my staff report is a summary of all the amendments. On September 20th of 2021, we held a public hearing before the Personnel Board, and at that time, we did an extensive presentation to them. They reviewed it, and after board discussion, the Personnel Board did vote 4-0 in favor of recommendation of approval of these amendments to the Mayor and City Council.
Thank you very much. Let's open it to the public. Public hearing is open on tab E. Public hearing open on tab E. Public hearing is now closed. No question? No question? Can I have a motion?
Yes, yeah. I'm sorry, Councilwoman Irving, but right before. Since this is my item, I wanted to say a few words, Mr. Mayor, if you allow me. I want to say thank you to management, but mainly to Jennifer, Ms. Warren, and Joe. Is Joe here? Yes, for their in-depth work. As Jennifer stated a couple years ago, it's been so fast, things been going on. This is prior to COVID. I did reach out and I spoke to the manager. There was some issues, and I did notice that there were some provision to our code that was not consistent with what was happening, and the manager put me in touch with the city attorney, then Jennifer, who I think at that time, I don't know if you're still overseeing the personnel board, which kind of like our expert in when it comes to that matter. I got in a meeting between Jennifer and Joe. The way they worked and they reviewed this thing in and out, it was so well thought, the whole process, and I want to thank them publicly because it was me taking so long, and then COVID happened, so everything kind of stopped. So this should have been, I believe it was, Madam Manager, at one point it was on the agenda. It was coming to the agenda, and I did ask them to hold it because I needed to review some stuff. So Jennifer, to you and Joe and the entire commission, thank you for doing this type of work, because this was something that was very, very well needed, and I hope we could get support from my colleague up here. Thank you again.
Thank you
for
very
your
much.
yes, sir.
Councilwoman Irvin.
No, I have no comment. Served on the personnel board for many years. I definitely trust the judgment of the personnel board and the attorney, Jennifer, which represents the personnel board. So thank you for your work.
Thank you very much. If there's no other questions, can I hear a motion on tab
So moved.
E?
Second.
I have a motion made by Vice Mayor Desilme to approve the item at tab E. The motion was seconded by Councilwoman Estime Irvin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Tab G.
Tab G, a proposed resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of North Miami, Florida, authorizing the city manager and the city attorney to negotiate and execute an interlocal agreement between the City of North Miami and the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency to provide for the repayment by the City of North Miami to the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency of a previous overpayment of rebates of tax increment finance revenues in the aggregate amount of $252,198, which repayment will be made in 2 equal installments over fiscal years 2022 to 2023 and 2023 to 2024. Further authorizing the city manager to take all action necessary to implement the terms of the interlocal agreement, providing for an effective date and all other purposes. Tab G.
Thank you very much, Madam Manager. Do you have anything to?
Yeah, this item went before the CRA board. If you'll recall, our previous CRA director, they had an audit of the payments that were made to the city, and it was found that there was an overage of payments. And so we came to an agreement of how the city would return the overpayment to the CRA. And so we will be doing that over a 2-year process, half this coming fiscal year, 2022 to 2023, and then the other half in the 23-24 fiscal year. I have also spoken to Miss Gail McDonald, the current interim CRA executive director, and we are both in agreement as far as settling the matter in this way.
Thank you very much. Let's open it to the public. Tab G is open to the public. Public hearing is open on tab G. Public hearing is now closed. Motion, can I hear a motion to approve tab G?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve the item at tab G. The motion was seconded by Vice Mayor Desilme. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Tab H.
Tab H, a proposed first reading ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of the City of North Miami, Florida, amending the boundaries of City Council districts numbered 1, 2, 3, and 4 in order to decrease the deviation in population totals as reflected in the year 2020 federal census, providing for repeal, severability, and an effective date. Tab H.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As stated, this is first reading for the redistricting. As you understand, this is an important component of equitable proportionality of population throughout all 4 districts. Throughout this process, we had several meetings, 2 public meetings that took place on February the 15th and 17th. And we had a meeting here in the chambers where a presentation was provided by Kurt Spitzer, the president of Kirk Spitzer's and Associate, who is the consultant on this matter for redistricting, where he went over in detail his review. And during that time span, he presented 4 maps that he identified for redistricting, which each of you have seen on several occasions. During the outreach meetings that took place on the 15th and 17th, we had public input. And during that public input, there was some selections of which maps should be considered by you, Mayor and Council. On February the 15th, we had 8 participants who gave their vote, and at that time, you had 3 votes for map 1, 3 votes for map 4, 2 votes for map 2. On the February the 17th meeting, we had 16 participants give their input on which maps they believe should be considered. And during that meeting, you had 7 votes that went for map 3, and 3 votes that went for map 1, and 3 votes that went for map 4. 1 vote is abstaining. And also, subsequent to those 2 meetings, we had people online cast their votes for a map, and it was 2 votes for map 1. So in total, we had 8 votes from citizens for map 1, 3 votes for map 2, 7 votes for map 3, and 6 votes for map 4. Also, this item went before the Planning Commission at the March 1st meeting. And during the March 1st meeting, the commission recommended that on a 3-2 vote, that map 4 be considered for acceptance by mayor and council. So with that in mind, we have went through these outreach and these votes, and we have today the consultant, Kurt Spitzer, here to give you more details on his review of the maps and the details. And there may have been some conversations that he had with others during this time span that may introduce some new maps beyond the 4 that have been discussed for the last month or so. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now let's open it to the public. Public hearing is open on the item. Public hearing is open on tab H. Public hearing is now closed. Council members? Who's gonna start?
You're starting in order.
Councilman Galvin? Or do you wanna say?
I have no questions at this
Okay.
moment.
Councilman Timothy?
So does staff provide the recommendation for which map, or do we select 1, 2, 3, or 4? How does
It's
this
1,
work?
2, 3, or 4. At the end of the day, we're
Oh.
gonna make the recommendation. A motion gonna be.
Okay, I just wanted
Yeah.
to make sure that there wasn't one that staff
no.
or just the
No.
planning commission that recommended 4, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much. District 3, Councilwoman Irvin.
Oh, I did have another one. Did we get any other comments or feedback from the public in regards to these maps? Or emails, or?
3 people.
No, like,
7 people.
this is a very serious matter.
Yeah, but you know, at the last council meeting, it was open to the public.
Mm-hmm. No, I just wanted to know, was there any additional comments that were sent in regarding the
So
redistricting?
we did, if I may, ma'am, we had on the website an apparatus that gave citizens opportunity to vote. And after the 3 meetings or so, we did receive 2 votes through that online, and it stated it was 2 votes for map 1.
Map 1. Okay. So I'm familiar with the redistricting process that happens after census, and if the residents, paid attention, you'll notice that, certain districts needed more residents, and we also took into consideration plan development. We know District 1 and District 2 are probably going to see the most residents coming in for this next cycle, or for the next 10 years. So that's it for me. I just wish we would have had more feedback.
Thank you very much. District 3, Councilwoman Irvin.
Thank you. Mr. Cook, I have questions. I heard you mention that we have 4 district maps here, but there could be others introduced. At what point will they be introduced?
Well, I said that, ma'am, in regards to if there was discussions outside of the realm that with the consultant himself, that maybe suggestions may have been presented to him. But no official maps have been presented other than those 4 at this time.
Another question, outside of those 4, could we totally just rearrange the maps on our own, correct? Mr. Attorney, I guess that would be-
That's what it is. That's when it's up to us. That's when we always can.
Yes.
Anybody can come up with their own map.
Right. The only, obviously, the reason we have a consultant is there are some requirements for these maps.
Yeah.
So any maps that would be presented.
As long
we
as
have
we
to
meet
make
the
sure that they
requirement,
meet the-
any
they
map
meet
can
all
be
the
adopted.
requirements, right.
Yes.
Can we also does she have
Wait,
another-
that's Councilwoman Irvin.
That's all my question for now.
Thank you. Yes. you-
No, I get, can we also state the process on record for, I guess, just the map process? I know we had the workshops and so forth, and it has to go before 2 reading. Isn't there like a deadline that we have to get these maps to the county by?
We had discussions with the county that we would provide them the maps by the end of this month. The timing is with respect to being able to be part of their redrawing of the maps that would come up in the next election.
In the August election this year?
Right, for this year. If they're not in at that time, then there would have to be, at a later date, a redrawing of the maps. That would have additional costs. It also would change in the middle of a cycle, probably change in the middle of a cycle, where people vote. Their
So-
voting precincts.
So their precincts as a result of our maps. Now, are they going to change, or will they change, or we don't know yet?
We wouldn't know yet, so
Oh.
we have to submit our maps
To
to
the
the
county.
county, and then it would get redrawn.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Vice Mayor Desilmay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know the supervisor of election, Ms. Christina White, had informed us, well, at least me, I think almost a year and a half ago, and we probably one of the last few remaining in the county, if not in the state, in the process in terms of finishing this. I would have liked to see more of the input. I do not think with a city of our size of 60,000, majority of the residents even understand the process, or we did what we needed to do to get it out to the folks. But that's beyond the point, and we are where we are. I know there was some discussion in terms of map 304, and I did ask Mr. Pitzer some questions relating to the way the boundary, if they could be continuous, and not go, too far in terms of, and I was specifically thinking about voting, because in the last election, if you recall, Mr. Mayor, they had changed, like they were sending folks in our
136,
district
yeah.
to vote, and Councilwoman Irving, SB Irving, to vote there, back and forth. And we had a very lengthy discussion with the election department in terms of that. So all of that came into my decision when I looked at the extension of the map, but we had, whatever that we had to work with, we knew that the numbers needed to be as much close to what it was. So whatever the decision of the council, I'm willing to go along with the majority, but at this time, I'm comfortable with 304, but leaning towards 4, unless somebody want to come up with any new proposal.
I think the only thing we need to take in consideration is the constructions that's going to happen in the next 10 years in the district. Some district may see an increase of 7 to 10% versus another one. I think when we are putting the map together, we have to take in consideration what's going to be built in the next 3 to 10 years in one district versus another one. And since we're going to have 2 reading, that's mean we're going to go ahead and pass one today. If we're going to have a big change in at the next meeting, I think we will do a special meeting for the redistricting, and then as the first reading and the second reading. I think that's where we are right now. That's something that we need to take in consideration, because some district, and we're not gonna see a lot of housing construction versus some other district that's gonna be booming with new construction. I think that's the only thing that's need to be taken in consideration when we're gonna draw those maps. Yes, Councilwoman Irvin.
I just have clarification, Mr. Attorney. This ordinance is basically giving us the right, I mean, we would be voting to change the boundaries. It's not necessarily choosing a map 1, 2, and 3, right? So vote for this tonight. It's just a vote to agree to redistrict the city. Am I understanding that right?
No, you're actually gonna vote on on one of these four
Okay,
maps.
I
And
just
that,
wanted to.
whichever map you all vote on will become the new map for our districts in the city.
So if we vote on the map, for example, let's just say we vote on map 1 today, right? And then next time we realize, no, we don't want to vote on map 1, we will vote on map 2. Would we have to do a new ordinance again, or how would that work?
No, this is an ordinance, it's 2 readings, so tonight's 1 vote, you have a second opportunity at the next vote to change it. The only thing, and the mayor mentioned it, is if there are substantial changes between this map and whatever map that we're gonna vote on the second reading, because there's a substantial change and the residents would not have seen that map, we would probably need to have a special meeting just to introduce whatever new map we're doing and then have the second reading. Otherwise, you'd be introducing a map that the residents had never seen.
Had not seen, okay, just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Thank you. And my recommendation is to adopt map 4. That's the recommendation.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
There's just a quick question to make sure I am clear on this, because I've never asked the question, and sometimes my assuming makes a mess out of me. But for the districts from the first map, I'm just gonna go with District 1.
Yes.
It's shaded in pink.
Yeah.
And then for map 4, for instance, it's still shaded in pink along the same boundaries, but there's a black line
Right, so,
that has moved in. And
it's hard to figure out at first. So if you look at the very first map, our current map, the way we are, you look at the colors.
Right.
On the drafts, the dark black lines show the new, so you can compare what was in the old district versus what's in the new. So
That's what
the way
I
we look at it.
assumed, but I figured before I vote, I better actually ask the question.
Yeah.
I'll second the mayor's motion on map 4.
I have a motion made by Mayor Bien-Aimé to approve the item at tab H with the selection of map 4. The motion was seconded by Councilman Galvin. Councilwoman Timothy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilwoman Estimate Irvin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mayor Bien-Aimé, how do you vote?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Desilme, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Galvin, how do you vote?
Yes.
The motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Thank you very much. Tab I.
Tab I is a quasi-judicial item, so if you plan to speak on tab I today and have not previously filled out a speaker card, please rise. Once again, if you're going to be giving testimony today on the item at tab I, please rise and raise your right hand as I issue the oath. I will note that I do have speaker cards from the 2 presenters. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give in these proceedings will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say aloud, I do.
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated.
Tab I.
Tab I. A proposed quasi-judicial resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of North Miami, Florida, approving an application for a conditional use permit in substantially the attached form for a proposed 382-unit mixed-use development comprised of an 8-story apartment building, 9,335 square feet of ground-level retail and a parking garage with 668 parking spaces on real property located at 1650 Northeast 124th Street, specifically identified with Miami-Dade County Folio Number 06-2229-007-0630 and totaling 3.12 acres in accordance with Article 3, Division 4, Sections 3-402 through 3-407, Article 4, Division 2, Sections 4-202, Section 4-203B, and Section 4-205, and Article 4, Division 3, Section 4-309 of the City of North Miami Code of Ordinances, Chapter 29, entitled Land Development Regulations, providing for an effective date and all other purposes. Tab I.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is Derek Cook, the Acting Director for Community Planning and Development Department. As stated by Madam Clerk, this is an item before you for a conditional use permit for the property for the project called Mount of Biscayne. The property is located at 1650 Northeast 124th Street. The property sits between Northeast 16th Avenue and Northeast 17th Avenue. The property, the street to the north of it is Northeast 124th Street. As stated, this is a conditional use permit. The applicant is seeking to have 382 units from the floating bonus units pocket pool that we have. The site is approximately 2.3 acres, 135,725 square feet. The existing site is a grass practice field and a parking lot, which is for the university that was previously located within the city, Johnson and Wales. The zoning for the property is PU, public use, designated community facility university on the comprehensive plan future land use map. The property is also located in the North Miami Transit Station Overlay District. Within that district, it allows for a maximum density of 150 units per acre and a maximum height of 200 feet. To reiterate, the property will be seeking 382 units. It's an 8-story mixed unit building with 9,335 square feet, approximately, of commercial area on the ground floor with 688 parking spaces. The property also will be LEED certified. They will provide a shelter for a bus on Northeast 16th Avenue. The improvements also would include 36 landscape parking spaces on the street right away. They also will have 100% Florida native species and planting. And they also will have, will work to have stormwater increase capacity on a retention of 10% above the standard. The Planning Commission recommended approval on this item, and during that meeting, neighbors had concerns about exploring enhanced the availability of parking, which was stated that the applicant will provide 36 on-street parking spaces, which was a concern that the properties to the south of the property, which are businesses, was concerned about losing their on-street parking, and the applicant will restore those as part of their development proposal. The economic impact, you're looking at approximately 1,775 short-term jobs with $266 billion in wages, 39 full-time jobs, and $3.2 million in permit and impact fees, ad valorem of approximately $1,700,000 in taxes, and approximately $13.7 million a year in local retail space spending for personal use and consumption. The next step is contingent upon Mayor and Council approval. They will move to Development Review Committee, DRC, for review of the site plan. Once that process is concluded, the site plan would come back before City Council for approval. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A quick question, how many bonus unit will be allocated to that development?
Madam, excuse me, Mr. Mayor, they don't have any, they haven't identified any bonus units that will be workforce affordable. We need to speak to them. They have not received any of CRA fundings, which
No, I said
mandates.
bonus units.
Bonus units is 382. Give me, sir.
How many is in the pool that we currently have?
Left in that pool is 1,307 units from that pool.
1,307.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. And now let's open it to the public, unless the applicant have a presentation also.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. I had a brief presentation I just wanted to run you through.
Yes.
If we have the PowerPoint available. Yeah, that's the one right there. All right, perfect. And then, to run through, what issue is this? It's not working. All right, perfect. Figure this out. Well, thank you very much for your time this evening. As Mr. Cook outlined.
Can you say your name and we will present, please?
Yes, my name is Anthony Diuri. I represent the Related Group, who is the developer on this project. Our address, I'm at Bills in Sunburg. Our address is 1450 Brickell Avenue. And I'm also joined by my partner, Mr. Carter McDowell, and my colleague, Liana Kozlowski, as well as representative from the property owner, Mr. Sean Pound. The Related Group has been around since 1979, building homes for families. And this is a community with multi-generational households that has great credit tenants. They identify it. They're willing to make the investment in the community. Just a quick couple of highlights. This is where the site is located, as Mr. Cook alluded to and mentioned. It's within the TOD area, so we don't need a rezoning. We don't need a change in the comp plan. That's a separate item that's completely independent from us at Johnson and Wales. What we're coming to seek for you today is a conditional use permit. The 20-story limit is nothing that we're going towards. We're going for an 8-story building. We're also coming in at approximately 90 units under the limit that we could request of 150 units per acre from the CUP bonus units. So it's not a project that is, in terms of context, this is what a 20-story building would look like, and the blue shaded area is the project that we're proposing. Volumetrically, this is the difference between what in theory we could request for TOD versus, again, what we're doing, which is 40% of the height. Some of the concerns from the neighbors, I saw I believe Mr. Goldstein, who owns the neighboring dental practice.
It's
veterinarian practice, my apologies.
yeah, and it's doctor.
Doctor.
Yeah.
My apologies. And so we listened to the comments that Dr. Goldstein had, in particular, in regards to the retail parking on 123rd. We are completely at the city's, it's completely the city's discretion on how you want to treat that. We will rebuild all that. We will improve that entire right-of-way, even though it's not required by the design standards in the city. If the city says they want us to do that as retail-only parking for the 124th Street uses during business hours, we are completely fine with that. Whatever the retail needs and accommodation, we're happy to do. And we're actually looking forward to creating programming and welcoming those retail owners in with the community residents in the building. These are just renderings of the building. As you see, it's a lot of glass. You don't see a lot of stucco here. You don't see small windows. The design is obviously much more costly, but again, it's the level of design I think would create a great benchmark for future developments in the area in terms of high-quality design going forward. This gives you a little bit of a better close-up taste of what you're looking at. We are adding a bus shelter on 16th Avenue. And these are the type of programmatic activities that we're interested in doing in the future. Farmers markets, inviting the retail on 124th in conjunction with the retailers that we're bringing in at the base of the building. The overall site plan, and to give you an idea of some changes we made. Yes, traffic is always talked about in projects. In particular, the biggest concern was traffic along 16th Avenue. This project originally was completely designed to have entry and exit on 16th Avenue. Staff, knowing the community, requested us to redesign the entire building and move the entrance and exit feature off of 16th Avenue so there would be no queuing. Again, that was the principal issue that was raised in regards to traffic, and so in an accommodation, we were happy to do that and redesign the entire building to move that off of 16th Avenue. To get a sense of the leasing that we're talking about in the area, they are neighborhood amenity retail uses, juice shops, coffee shops, dry cleaners. We heard Alaskan Coffee earlier. I think we definitely took a note to see if perhaps we can bring them in the building. That'd be a great amenity for us to have. You know, fast casual, Poke OG, or small boutiques, places that folks in the neighborhood can walk over to, use, and enjoy, as well as the residents in the area. This is the current condition of the property. I wanted to just take a note of some of the biggest concerns we got were in regards to the poor lighting and lack of attention. It is an unattended parking lot right now. Johnson & Wales created a vacuum in the area, obviously, and so the concern from a lot of the neighbors is what happens in dark areas that are unlit where there's no security is not something that they're interested in trying to figure out in their neighborhoods. We are going to have 24-hour security. We're going to have security cameras all around the site. We're going to have weekly landscaping. We're going to have daily maintenance and cleanup around the property. And additional concerns were, you know, an unattended swale in the area. This is not going to be a condition that you're going to see. This is not a condition you're no longer going to see at this property. And also, the additional comment, which is twofold. One, how things impact the neighborhood in regards to parking, and how things impact the neighborhood in regards to pets. It always is a big concern for neighbors, how you're treating their swales. Are you going to park in their swales? Are your dogs going to do waste and go to the bathroom in their swales? We're going to set up stations around the entire property. And also, we've overparked the building. We are not underparked, so we will easily be able to accommodate the amount of parking that we use, so no one will encroach into the neighborhood. That is a quick summary of the project, and I want to allow time for any other further comments or questions.
Thank you very much. Now let's
Thank
open
you,
it to
Mayor.
the public. Public hearing is open on tab I.
Hi, my name's Dr. Spencer Goldstein. I'm with Biscayne Animal Hospital, 1665 Northeast 123rd Street. Just wanted to express the concerns of those businesses and what he was saying, that he's going to manage those parking spaces, which is great. Our concern are with the influx of residents and the retail stuff that's going in, who's going to be using those parking spots? Right now, nobody else using those parking spots other than the businesses that are there. We used to have alternative parking on 123rd that was taken maybe about 10, 12 years ago. And so my property has the most amount of parking for the building. The other businesses do not. They're limited to, I think, 2 spots apiece roughly. So I know last time we were here, they talked about maybe trying to set something up where we can delegate that parking to the businesses that are there. So I just wanted to bring that up, because if we lose that parking, it's going to affect the business dramatically.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Public hearing still open on tab I. Public hearing on tab I. Public hearing is now closed. Council members?
Mr. Mayor, through you to the management, how do we address that potential problem with the new buildings, tenants, users parking in this existing spots of the vet's practice and others? Sorry, I'm a little tired tonight.
Go ahead.
So, Mr. Mayor, and Councilman. So as you know, on-street parking is public parking. It's not designated for any specific business or any specific person. That is the situation it is today. I'm not sure if we have, what mandate we have to be able to specifically mandate that parking for any specific use, but they could be done if we wanted to do that. But that's not something that is a provision that is currently in the code, and I defer to Madam Manager.
And the other question that from related, please, we are doing one meeting, please. Thank you. And
So I would.
from the presentation, I heard the applicant said that they have more parking than required. Is that correct?
That's correct. So you have 382 units. You have a parking of 1.5 parking spaces per unit, plus 5% for guests. And then you have one parking space for every 300 square feet for the commercial element of the parking area. They're providing 88 parking spaces, plus they're going to refurbish the 39 parking spaces on street for use for the businesses that the doctor has concerned about and the other businesses in the area may use as well.
Thank you. Yes, Councilman.
Who owns the spots right now?
We own the public parking spaces, but one of the things that we consider in terms of the public parking spaces is that as others build around there, if they're lacking in parking, they look to public parking spaces in order to meet their requirements in terms of parking. So while we couldn't just, if we were to designate it to a specific and not make it public parking anymore, then there would be other developments around that would not be able to use it in order to meet their parking requirements. So right now, it's a public parking shared with the different businesses, and that others around it could use it to meet their parking.
So what do we, totally get where they're coming from. What do we do when this facility is completely built out and those that have their customers come and park no longer can park because somebody else is in there as they run into the dry cleaner or duck into the new Alaska coffee house? How do we handle that? This could be a big drain on our police presence to be running out there and ticketing and towing or whatever. How do we address that?
So my understanding is that they're meeting the requirements of one for every 300 square feet for their commercial property.
Right.
And then we are leaving the public spaces really open for them. In fact, what they're doing is just fixing them so they look nicer, but they're not using it for their commercial space, and they're not also using it to make their numbers in terms of their required parking.
So I know how humans are. We're creatures of comfort. What do we start doing when, despite all the legal requirements being put in place, that people start parking in those spots closest to the 123rd Street businesses, leaving, people who show up, and full disclosure, Dr. Goldstein's my veterinarian. Well, not me, but my pets. But I can totally relate. You're running, you're in a hurry, it might be an emergency, you're trying to pull in, and somebody who's grabbing a latte is taking the space closest. That's what I'm hoping we can avoid.
I mean, we can take a look at it, but we would be talking about public spaces, that if they're using that business as opposed to any business, that parking spot, those parking spots belong to any of the businesses. So there's an assumption that's being made that that someone else is gonna take the parking space. However, the applicant is building enough parking spaces that should be for his area, but at any given time, those parking spaces would still be used for the businesses. We can look into it further, but the more that we remove public parking spaces and give that out, we won't have that for the area for them to park.
Yeah. No,
That's when if we allow those public parking to just one building, the other one won't be able to meet the requirements.
Right, so if we were to give it to the veterinarian, then now you're talking more of people getting towed because it's a private parking spot that other people can't. So currently, the situation should be that for those businesses, any person who's using any of the businesses going to the veterinarian is able to use any of those spaces that are open, that are free for the public.
I mean, I get the nuance, but just from my standpoint, between now and second reading, it'll be a major issue that I have, that we figure out a way to make that work for the businesses that are there, so that we're not, we can right now tell what the problem could be in 2 years. I don't want to dump that on the next council if we can come to some sort of resolution now, before this is finalized on second reading.
Okay. And
This isn't second reading.
This is first
that's the
reading.
first. Right.
Sorry, lack of sleep.
Thank you very much. Do you have any questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
sir.
You want to go?
No, you can go.
Respectfully, thank you, Madam Commissioner. Quick question, Mr. Cook. I met maybe 2 weeks ago with someone from the group. From Related. Yeah, that's the group. We met on something else that they have going on in the city, and in the conversation, that project was mentioned. But this is the first time I'm seeing the actual conception or the actual plan. So, and as you know by now, I usually have an issue with voting, which I don't have any problem with, and I follow the guide of whoever is the commissioner of the area. But normally, I do feel like it's a little disrespect, and I don't know if it's coming from staff or where that we don't, it's now that I'm hearing about these development, and I mentioned it during the briefing with the city manager and the attorney. So at some point, if they are coming, unless I didn't know that they needed anything from us. In the conversation we were having, the conversation came up about this particular property, the address. That's how I remember the conversation. At what point, based on what they are asking for, because I know what the doctor was mentioning, parking has always been an issue, especially if you're on 16th, well, not even 16th, on 123rd Street, trying to go to Riki Tai, this parking thing, especially with our parking spot there. I would have had some input, because I did not know. So when they talk about staff, they talk about the city, are they referring to management, you guys, or us, or combined? Or at what point do we come into the equation? Because this tonight, and I don't know, perhaps, hopefully, the commissioner of the district and other folks, Councilman Galvin, hopefully that's closer to the area. But if all of us are voting on it, I would like to at least find out and get to have some input on it before would have. So that's my stand on it tonight. So I have some issues and some concern in hearing about the what they call it, the native trees, and I'm not a big fan of I love nice, and the building looks very, very, it looks
I think
nice.
the only problem they have is like they went and meet with the residents that tell them change this, do
Which
this,
is
do
fine.
this, do that. They do everything, but without coming here, and because if they did come before us early, we will be having discussion about the strip mall in front of the building, because when you put that building, and what's going to happen to that strip mall, and I think you could do a
Traffic.
bigger project, a better project, if the strip mall was included in the alleyway.
And also, Mr. Mayor, lastly, not to cut you off, I wanted to ask about the outreach. So you said they went to the residents, because
Mayor, can
we'll
I
do some-
interject
Please
you
go
for a
ahead,
second?
because you may have some information that we don't. Go
So
ahead.
I too was a bit uncomfortable about the item, because I don't know if they were informed that it was District 1, but it was actually District 2, and I was out of town, but I saw the email, so I took time to meet with you guys on Thursday, and I didn't receive the presentation until last night. So I too had some concerns with the issue, because I know you guys were meeting with residents, and I heard some of the comments, but with me being the district commissioner, I too have, some residents who probably would want to provide insight as well. And I too called Mr. Anthony this morning to talk about the strip mall, to see what could be done and what were some of the concerns, because to bring an item here before us tonight to vote on without knowing all of the comments and concerns, without knowing the parking situation, to not knowing if you're going to provide additional parking on site for for public use and so forth, you know, it kind of blindsides us up here. I actually wanted to pull the item, but since I met with you all, I felt like, okay, if the council's okay with it, but if you guys are uncomfortable with it and want to continue it to the next meeting.
If you don't mind, Councilwoman, I would rather continue it because I have not had a chance to speak to anyone on this item either. So I'd feel more comfortable if this was continued.
Okay, we're gonna continue, and I think since, we're gonna have, I think we're gonna move it to the next, maybe to the next agenda, so we can,
Mr.
you
Mayor,
can reach out to, yes.
If I might, this Carter McDowell, Bills and Sunburg, representing the applicant. We actually reached out to all of your offices and asked
No, for
to
that
get
part,
times to meet. And with every council member that responded, we met with. We appeared before the Keystone Association, and I know that a couple of the council members attended and listened to that. We did our best to reach out and actually tried several times for the last 3 or 4 weeks to try to make contact. So we mean no disrespect.
No.
If we didn't meet with you, it's because we didn't get a response back from your office after several tries. We met with the mayor here. I actually stopped by the staff at the council offices, specifically left my number and my name and my cell number, and asked to get return calls. So anybody who responded, we did respond to. We mean no disrespect to those who we didn't meet with. And we did a significant amount of community outreach to make sure that we did talk to the neighbors on this parking issue, and we will continue to work with the city administration on this issue. We do have to come back for site plan approval. So you will see this project again. One of the ways that we can work with the city and with those retail tenants who are important to our residents too, and our residents will certainly patronize those businesses. I mean, it's not another 360 families living next to those businesses. They're great businesses. I go there all the time. I live in Keystone. One of the ways to work on that parking issue is to control the length of time that you're allowed to park. So if you establish parking time limits, an hour or 2 hours, in conjunction with the businesses as to what their patrons need. You might have some that are short-term parking that are 15 or 20-minute parking spaces. You might have some that are 1 or 2 hour parking spaces. What you don't want is long-term parking, because then someone might park there and be there all day. That's not good for the businesses. Honestly, it's not good for us either. From a pure parking number standpoint, the zoning code requires us to have 684 parking spaces. That's parking for the retail and for the residences, full parking as required by your code. We have 20 additional parking spaces over and above what your zoning code requires in our project. So there's little chance, honestly, that there's going to be spillover from our residents, because it's going to be easier for them to park in the building and walk across the street to patronize those businesses. So I don't think we're going to be the problem. Hopefully we're going to be part of the solution, because our residents certainly are going to patronize these businesses. We would ask that you consider, and I understand we've not met with you, but we commit, before we come back for site plan approval, we will meet with everyone. Everybody who has responded, we've already met with.
I think, okay. Thank you very much, sir. I think, and it's tab I. Let's move it to the next agenda so you get a chance to meet with every council members addressing the issues.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And sir, thank you for that, because our office, you know, we have human beings working as well.
I fully understand.
And we have heard that before, but just know that my cell phone, I know Councilman Galvin, and I'm not saying always.
We spoke with Councilman Galvin.
No. I'm not about in terms of me. I'm just saying his cell phone, because he's always calling it out publicly. And mine is 926-7335. It's everybody knows it. So if you ever, or anyone, And if you have asked the manager or Mr. Cook or anybody, if you can't ever get in touch with our office, because sometimes we short staff, and we're not saying
We understand.
that it's you or whatever the case is, and we do understand that, but please just, call us directly. We are human beings. It's not that it's the formality of things, just reach out to us, and we know it's no disrespect because,
okay.
all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Madam Clerk, and it's to move it to the next council agenda.
I have a motion made by Mayor Bienemate to continue the item until the next meeting. Speak into the mic, please.
Your mic is on.
The motion was seconded by Vice Mayor
Second.
Desume. Councilwoman Timothy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Desume, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilwoman Estime Irvin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Galvin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mayor Bienemate, how do you vote?
Yes.
Motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Thank you very much. Citizen Forum.
That was the best meeting, Mr. Mayor. That was the best meeting.
Good evening, Mayor, council people. My name is Andrew Axelrad, General Counsel for the Police Benevolent Association, 10680 Northwest 25th Street, Doral, Florida. I just wanted to approach you guys tonight because we're working with the manager. We're still in some difficult negotiations trying to get to a successor collective bargaining agreement for the men and women who protect you and your citizens. We've been seeing some really good contracts, in our area, which we're happy with. We're seeing numbers of across-the-board wages that we haven't seen in 10 or more years in the 4%, 5% ranges. We know that there's always an issue with, availability versus allocation. I'm looking at your tab F. Maybe we've saved a couple $100,000 there by removing that. I don't know the reason for it. I just wanted to let you know you're going to be having a shade session with your management team. I know the manager's working on hopefully putting something together for you guys, and we just want to express to you, we're looking forward to meeting with the city again. We've got a session scheduled on April 1st. We just really urge you to kind of, when you have that shade session, direct your management team to try to put together an agreement, put together proposals, work with us so that we can, come up with a multi-year agreement to really make sure that the men and women that protect you guys, to protect your citizens, are taken care of. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Public hearing, Citizen Forum.
Good evening. This is Mark Sell, 15051 Royal Oaks Lane, North Miami. I wanted to give a shout out first to Chief Juriga for his wonderful presentation at Wildcat Center last Tuesday. My instant question, and I'm sorry I'm late on this, is about tab E, which you voted upon on first reading. And these are open questions right now. It's nothing, but for the record, are any of these measures retroactive to any pending cases? There's only one pending case that I know of with the Personnel Board, and that is over reviews of Neil Cuevas, Sergeant Cuevas, former Assistant Police Chief who was recently demoted. His Personnel Board hearing had been scheduled to March 28th, and this requires, I think, just 2 votes rather than 3 for a decision that might default to management. So if the second reading is March 22nd, how does this affect it? So if there is such an answer now, and I'm sorry Attorney Warren isn't here, and I'm sorry I'm late, that's the question. But I just urge that, are we fair to the employees, and what is the message that any changes will send to the hardworking rank and file of our city? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are you asking the question as a journalist or as a city resident?
One thing about turning 70 is that my main job now is to help businesses. I am a freelancer and I do these things. I am a citizen like anyone else. You get to the age where you can tell people to get off your lawn and point with pride and view with alarm. So
It's a
that's
simple
all.
question.
I
As
am
a
not a beat
journalist?
reporter, but that
Okay.
is a question.
Thank you.
Yes.
Citizen Forum. Still open.
Good afternoon. My name is Stedman Saul. I'm the president of the South Florida PBA. I just want to echo a little bit what Andrew, our general counsel, said, that I know there's an upcoming shade session. I started my career with the city of Homestead back in 1990. And in 1992, we had Hurricane Andrew hit. And it was a very bleak time. And the city at that time just couldn't imagine that we were ever going to rebuild or come out of it. And they did. We're coming out of a pandemic. That's the worst natural disaster that anybody could have ever predicted worldwide, not just locally to a city or a county or a state, but worldwide. Your property taxes increased by 6%. So when you have your shade session, what I found is that you've got a good manager here, you've got a great police department, you've got your police officers out there, you even have one standing right here to make sure that tonight you're going to be safe. When you go home, you're going to be safe, and your officers are going to be out there day in and day out making this a better community, so that if that building gets built, you're going to need more officers and stuff like that. So we're asking you to get together. I know that when a mayor and council members get with the manager and you put your priorities first, you'll never go wrong investing in public safety. That I promise you. Public safety. Our president of the United States of America just a few days ago, said that investing in public safety is going to be one of his priorities. And so I hope that as a mayor and council and the manager, that you invest in your officers, you invest in your men and women out there that are going to make sure that this is a great community. You have a great city. I'm proud to represent the officers here, and thank you very much for your time tonight.
Thank you very much, sir. Citizen Forum, still open.
Hello, everybody. Claudia Pasmino, 13504 Northeast 23rd Place. It's been a very long time. Cassandra, so nice to see you on the council. I have not been here in a long time. I'm not going to say why, but over the past few months, actually since last June, I've been meaning to come to you guys. And I'm sorry that I'm so late. And reason why I'm late is there's personal stuff going on, and other times I'm like, well, why bother going if it's in one ear, out the other? But that's a personal thing between me and you guys. But the reason why I'm here is to apologize. Now, I'm a very passionate person. You all know that I love social media. I'm always on Facebook. So it was called to my attention that I was, well, let's be honest, I was for Laura Hill. So Councilwoman Mary Esteem, I do want to apologize if on social media I attacked you personally. I mean, I didn't mean to come across that way. I did have my preference, but I didn't want it to be personal. So if it came personal to you and your family members, I apologize. I also want to apologize to Councilman Galvin, Cassandra Timothy, even if you were PIO, I don't know if I ever said anything negative about you guys, but Mayor Philip Denime, Alex Sesame, again, it was pointed out to me that sometimes on social media I do come across as rude, mean, and I'm like, well, you have to have tough skin because you guys chose to be public leaders, but not everybody is the same way. So just because my skin is somewhat tough in one way doesn't mean you guys have to have it the same way. So I'm here to apologize, and again, anything I said on social media, it's overall not personal attack, but I see how it could be, you know, if you're reading and like, oh, blah, 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 you're like, well, it is a personal attack. You mentioned my name. And I'm like, okay, so I get it. And also want to apologize to your family members. Because again, if anybody says something negative about my family, I get upset. So I, again, was pointed out that you guys have families. You have, I get nervous speaking in public, I don't know why. You have nephews and nieces, moms, dads, siblings. So of course, if somebody says anything about my family, I get mad, so I want to apologize to your relatives as well.
Thank you very much.
Very
Citizen
nice.
Forum still open.
I do have a previously submitted comment.
Yes, after this one.
Good evening, William Prevotel, 11950 North Bay Shore Drive. As we progress from the old too short Black History Month to the month of March, where we celebrate women, I'd like to congratulate and celebrate all women of North Miami and everywhere. I'd also like to take this opportunity to call out our government in Tallahassee and the rest of the state. We can thank the Republican Party for voting to make abortions after 15 weeks illegal, meaning there could be a young lady, 16, 15, 14, who gets raped by some wacko from anywhere. And because she's so traumatized, she may not even have any idea that she's pregnant or what to do. But these brilliant minds in Tallahassee, led by our jackass governor up there, who basically is against science, they're going to impose this on women. And that thinking is going to travel across the country and be inbred like that. These are the same people that have come out against gays. Let's not say gay. What kind of mentality? How insecure are these people? Really? How insecure do you have to be to come out against everybody? The same party that is against every damn minority, every damn person of different races, of colors, of ages, everything, against education, against science. How insecure do they have to be? These are the same people that stood up and propped up a stooge who was between $400 and $1 billion in debt, and he was their businessman. He's the same one that stood with and went to bed with all these dictators. And that's now coming back to haunt us. We propped up this thing, this situation, and that's what's led to Kiev and to the Ukraine, is this kind of attitude that we're going to be okay with dictators and despots. Anyway, I think the party is either, well, it's both. It's ignorant and it's evil, and I hope that North Miami stays away from this. All the Republicans, please wake up. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Citizen Forum, previously submitted comments, Madam Clerk.
Absolutely. Thank you. Jessica Austin, 1140 Northwest 125th Street, North Miami, Florida, 33168. I do not appreciate the editing of my remarks. Why bother to meet publicly since you are operating under a quote-unquote cone of silence? Open parentheses, making secret, self-serving deals with private entities without citizen consent with our public know-me money and resources. Close parentheses. You continue to disempower the people. You have conveniently forgotten that your role is to be a servant of the people with integrity. Your allegiance to cronyism is a disempowering betrayal of the public trust. Miami-Dade County Attorney Office, please investigate the ethics and accountability irregularities operating in North Miami. That's all, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Citizen Forum is now closed. Council report, District 1.
No report tonight, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
District 2.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, to all the women residents of North Miami, to all the women who are working at City Hall, to all the women working with our North Miami Police Department, wanted to wish you all a happy International Women's Day, and of course, happy Women's History Month. It's not just the month of March, it's each and every day. And like my shirt says, nevertheless, she's persisting. My shirt, my bracelet, and my button, keep persisting, keep resisting. And I look forward to wearing a shirt with Ketanji Brown Jackson on it one day.
There you go.
And also, I want to wish our Chief Doriga a happy belated birthday. I forgot to send you a text on March 5th, but happy birthday, Chief. And again, just want to thank staff. Today, well, this week, Chanel Cooper started with my office. She's no, stranger to North Miami, but she will be working as my constituent service coordinator. And Claudia, thank you for apologizing. You didn't have to. I thought you were coming to ask for your dog park, which I'm working on. But no, your activism is appreciated because I do read it, I do see. I may not comment all the time because it may become a public record and I might have to keep it longer if it comes before council, but we see you and thank you.
Thank you very much, District 3.
Good evening, everyone, and again, echoing Happy International Women's Day. There's a proverb in Spanish that says, to tell a woman everything she cannot do is to tell her what she can. So I hope you take out the time to celebrate the women in your life, to learn about women all over the world doing great things. Just want to reiterate the Women's Empowerment Luncheon. If you didn't get a chance to register for it at the FIU Coven Center March 24th, please go to Eventbrite, register for it. Can't wait to see you there. And join us this Saturday for the bike ride. And again, happy belated birthday, Chief. Thank you. And that's all that I have for this evening.
Thank you very much, District 4.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a couple of quick announcements, which was mentioned tomorrow. We're going to have a development meeting at the Joe Celestine Center at 6 p.m. This is just an informational session on development going on in District 4. It's at 6 p.m. A recap, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to Christine, Ms. Daniel, the entire staff, Know Me Fest staff, the Black History Committee, and all of the staff from North Miami who supported our residents. You know, we, for the first time this year, we surpassed our expectation with NOMI Music Fest. We also wanted to acknowledge the evening of honor, all of the honorees who we honored. But again, with NOMI Fest, we started, ticket sale went on sale, was it today? Yes, and we already have 6 people who purchased tickets, and we got a survey. We started early, we're doing it the right way. And I want to say thank you to staff again for doing what they do to help our residents in terms of what we're doing. And I think the attorney and I and the manager, we spoke of adding another cause, the food pantry, towards the ticket sales as it get bigger and better, hopefully in the years to come. Claudia, you really did not have to do that. We sign up for this. We are human beings. That's first and foremost. Thank you for acknowledging that part. But we get it from folks don't think that we have, it's not about having thick skin or could take stuff, because obviously we up here, they've said, you know, you don't want to even what they say about each of us and the names that they called us. It is what it is. However, for you to come up and acknowledge it, and just saying, you didn't have to apologize, but it's appreciative at least you saying it. But like my colleague said, you really didn't have to say that. I wanted some clarity in terms of, there's one question that was asked today, and I wanted to make very, very clear. First and foremost, I was totally, I forgot about any of the matter that was talking about in terms of the item that I proffered. That was 2 years ago, that was on the agenda. So I don't know if that's a question, Mr. Attorney, that I need to, that I could ask in terms of what was asked in reference to the comment that was made earlier.
Yeah, so I was confused by the comment also.
Okay.
Obviously, this comes into effect immediately after the council passes it.
Okay,
but I went through the document as we were going through to see what in here changes any of the rules having to do with the personnel board hearing.
Yes.
There's nothing in here, so I'm not even sure why that comment was
Okay,
made.
because my intention, because I came up with, and I want to make it very, very clear, this legislation that Jennifer Warren talked about was it might have been 2.5 years in the making. And I asked them about a year ago it was brought on the agenda to take it down when the manager asked me, you know, and there was some provision I needed to go over with Jennifer, and I met with Joe and Jennifer. I really didn't really know until you mentioned what was going on. I do not know what the intent when this was on had anything to do with even anything about the police department. So I just want to make it clear on the record, this has been in the work for 2 years in the making, which had nothing to do with any of these things that's happening. It's about provision that was in the code regarding some of the items, and I would be more than happy to go over it with you in terms of what we had went over and crossed out what Jennifer did, which has absolutely nothing to do with any present case, whatever the case is, because I don't play those type of politics in terms of what's happening or doing these type of things, doing legislation to change whatever the case is. I don't get involved in the personnel matters or what's happening with folks stuff. I did not know until you mentioned when the cases were coming up in terms of the matter that was brought up. So again, Mr. Attorney, I just wanted to be clear on the record that this piece of legislation, which was 1.5 years ago, has absolutely nothing to do with the comment that was mentioned. I just wanted to be
again, sir, I after the comment was made, I sat here and
No,
I
I
read
know.
it, and I don't see any provision in here that's been changed that would affect any kind of hearing that's going on right
Yeah,
now.
and
So I'm not
I
sure,
wanted
again,
them.
why that statement
I
was
wanted people just to know this was already changed months and months ago. It was me and back and forth that it was even on the agenda that it pulled back. So I just wanted to say that on the record. The last thing I wanted to mention in terms of one of the items that was mentioned earlier, Mr. Attorney. I think we had discussion with the consultant for the redistricting, and this is something that I mentioned to you with the manager of city, our side, when you look at the neighboring cities and what's going on. And one of the item that I wanted to either, I guess that would be giving you direction to work with the clerk, if we could add on a referendum or a question that could come up as a resolution. I don't know if it's a resolution that would be a referendum in terms of perhaps to see if my colleague would possibly support the ideas of a 2 at-large seats. But part of the at-large seats, when I spoke to the consultant about that, would be it would have some residency assignment to the 2 at-large seats. The one would be you must reside in District 1 or District 2 to run for the at-large seats. That would be an 8-year term as well. And District 3 and 4 would be you must reside. So he had agreed because he mentioned the case with, I think, St. Pete. He said that they did something, and similar to North Miami Beach, as a matter of fact, when they don't have a requirement, you could have people up here in one area, and we don't want that. Obviously, want it to be well out. So that was my thought of it. So that's something that I don't know if any comments in there, but I would like to direct if that's something that you could work with the clerk to sit down and see. Perhaps we could put as a resolution for I guess the election, upcoming election, et cetera, et cetera. Thank you. That's basically it, Mr. Mayor. Thank you so much.
Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Mayor. So Chief Jariga has in the past told me not to put his business out there, but since everybody else did, happy birthday, Chief. I wanted to bring up this issue about boat ramps. Many people have been calling for boat ramp applications and permits. While we do have an application on file, we don't have permits, we don't have keys, and we don't have decals. And so I believe that somebody on the council could maybe direct staff to develop a resolution so that we can start to address this issue, because people continue to call the office, and unfortunately we're not able to act on it because we don't have anything allowing us to proceed. And then beyond that, it's also a revenue source that I think we're not looking seriously into. So it would be great for us to start working on that. And my office has also done some research and developed some suggestions. And so if a council person or administration would like to, we could discuss that. I also want to take some time to remind us why we celebrate International Women's Day. It's a day where we are reminded to raise awareness about gender inequality. It's a day for us to commit to fighting for parity for women and girls all over the world. Personally, I am blessed with so many women who've allowed me to develop into this person, this woman before you here today. And because of what they've invested in me, I understand that it is my duty to work to build a world that works for all women. And I believe that you all here today, woman or not, have the same duty. And so I encourage you to see this day as a reminder of the work that we still have to do. And that is it. Thank you.
Madam Manager, any report?
Just on our Flood Awareness Week, we'll have each day one of our key tips for the flood, and recognizing that in the next couple months we'll have hurricane season, that we're asking for the residents to work towards those issues and resolve and use those key tips. And we did have a local business that did ask. They are Let's Dance Miami. They are doing a dance show to raise funds for Mystic Force Foundation, which is one that the police department has supported many times. They are offering a 20% discount to all North Miami residents and North Miami employees to attend the show to raise the funds. And you can find them on Instagram at Let's Dance Miami for a show on March 20th. It will be at the FIU Center.
Mr. Attorney?
No report, sir. Thank you.
Madam.
Oh, I'm sorry, I have one more.
Go ahead.
We will be doing the Wildcat grand opening on March 31st, on the evening of March 31st. So that will be upcoming, and we will announce the time. So we're very excited to have the grand opening.
And just before we call, Madam Clerk, you did mention that via email to my staff that perhaps in a couple of weeks we'll be announcing opening some centers to the.
Yeah, we're looking to April. I know that there was a concern about Sunkist Grove. Now, some for the meetings, if they give the meeting times. There's several HOAs that are still trying to find other meeting times. If you need, please reach out to the Parks Department, because we can make some openings if you give us the time ahead of time. What we are concerned with now is that we still have not been able to fill a lot of the part-time positions. And so if there are meetings at certain parks, areas, or recreation centers, we've been shifting we shift the staff around to go to those. So they can always do that, just have to let us know in advance, and we can make it open for that time. We're hoping to open a couple more centers in April and bring on some more part-timers. There's been a hard time recruiting, particularly in that field, because of the rates that we've had in terms of our hourly rates. We did look at that, and we've come with rates that are more competitive for that, and we have tried to advertise for that.
Okay.
Thank you very much. And did you give a report on when is the grand opening of the Wildcat?
March 31st.
We're going to do the ribbon cutting,
Yes.
and we're going to a party at night. March 31st? Okay.
March 31st.
I
Yes,
think Councilwoman Irving have a question, but before, Madam City Manager, I know you mentioned that there's an issue with, the folks working, but there's also an issue, I think we talked about it in terms of, and we could discuss that a little bit further, and you said you would look into it, so just in terms
No,
of personnel.
I did.
Okay.
We were having issues because the department did not have all the documentation
Okay.
to HR.
Okay.
So that's one of our issues. So one of the things that I've talked to departments is that when we're doing HR, we have to give all the documentation to them so that they can do that. So I did look into
Okay.
those, the issues that you
And
raised.
with the PBA, Mr. Mayor, we thank you, Sal, for being out here, but Mr. Stedman, but we always work out. We'll do what we do because we all here we believed in the police, but it's tough. So we are whatever. We'll let the manager and you guys do what we do, and then we'll do what we do. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. You want to
All
add something?
right. In the spirit of doing what we need to do, I wanted to just make sure I publicly state the deadline to submit a resolution or ordinance for charter amendments or any other questions that are to be put on the ballot. And that date is no later than Friday, May 27th
Thank you very much.
for the primary election, and then no later than July 29th for the general election.
Thank you. We all set? Can I hear a motion to adjourn?
I have a motion to adjourn made by Councilwoman Estimate Irvin, seconded by Vice Mayor Desame. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote. The time is 8:55 p.m.